direction, and that's Airbnb trading lower, down more than 4% right now after reporting its Q2 earnings. It's a beat on the top and bottom line for the company. Let's run through those numbers there. Revenue coming in at $2.5 billion versus $2.4 billion that was expected. Adjusted earnings per share coming in at 98 cents. Airbnb seeing strength in gross bookings coming in above the street's estimates at 19 billion. That's 13% higher than last year. But here's the big miss. Nights and experiences booked. They reported 115.1 million, up 11% year on year, but the street was expecting 118 million. Airbnb saying that guests are traveling further. Cross-border nights growing by 16% in Q2 compared to a year ago. Worth going back to this number, though. We're talking about nights and experiences being a miss. Also, average daily rate showing slower growth. It was up just 1% year on year. ADRs, by the way, down 2% in North America as hosts reduced some of their prices. So if you'll recall, Airbnb has been putting in a lot of these features to really, as they've described it, add value onto their platform, whether it's rooms or pricing transparency. And they have said they're seeing those consumers really choose value. Now, on the one hand, that's good because they're booking on Airbnb, but that's also bringing the average daily rate down a little. Now, outlook in terms of guidance for the quarter, we are seeing them the company saying they expect to deliver revenue of $3.3 billion to $3.4 billion. But interesting insight here, especially in the travel space. Airbnb has been a really strong name, but they have seen a bit of a pullback, at least on average daily rate.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I literally underlined that when I was looking through their report about the average daily rate, and then the nights and experiences booked, I mean, coming in weaker than expected. And it goes to that point about, is there weakness coming in the travel? I mean, look, we just talked about Expedia earlier, and then some of the, softness that we saw there. So despite them beating in terms of revenue or profit, it's that kind of future path. What does their growth trajectory look like? Can they hold this up through the next quarter? And there appears to be some slowing there.
Yeah, and, it's important to know that Airbnb is obviously a global company. They are in so many markets internationally, and when you look at their numbers, it still points to kind of the opening that we're seeing. The company's talked about the huge growth they're seeing in Asia, one of the very last regions to lift a lot of these pandemic restrictions. So that upside is still coming through. But as we've heard with so many companies, travelers feeling a little more cautious as well. One more thing to note, Diane, because I was curious. I think a lot of people are curious. Airbnb's Malibu Dream House.
Yes.
I don't know if we have a photo of that, but that now is the company's most popular listing ever. Yes. 250 million social media impressions. And you have to wonder how many people went to Airbnb platform, looked for this, and then said, well, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to book another travel destination.
No, I
How
love
much of that percolated through?
I know. And they're flipping it over to Ken next. I guess it's going to be on loan to Ken and get some, they said, Kenergy, I guess is what
I say we pull in all our money and spend one night there.
Let's go.